So welcome to this week's session. Today we're going to talk a little bit about stress management. Now this is what happens in the body when we get stressed. So going way back to caveman times, the body is really well designed. You're faced with danger. Do you flee? Do you fight? And so all of the changes that go on in the body are absolutely ideal for coping with that. And they push the blood into the muscles. They give you more energy, more strength. You hear incredible feats of strength when members of family are perhaps in trouble and you get somebody that lifts a car off a child or something like that. That's that very prehistoric reaction in the body that is that coping with stress. But of course, way back when, they would have got away from stress, or they would have fought and won, and then they would have gone somewhere and they would have been sitting calmly, and the body would have had a chance to reset. If they've perhaps got injured, because all of the blood's gone into the muscles for energy, speed, strength, the blood is thicker, and so if they do get injured, they don't immediately bleed out. So that's what all of those reactions in the body are aimed at helping us do. But you put that in a modern context where you have stress upon stress upon stress upon stress. We're asked to do more with less. We're asked to work long hours. We go home, perhaps we've got family stress. Perhaps you're middle-aged and you've got what we call the sandwich generation. You've got the stress of the kids, and you've also got the worry of the aging parents and all of the health issues. Maybe you have physical ailments. So all of these things build up. And so it's actually really important to tell the body that it's nothing to be afraid of, to send the right signals to the brain to calm down. And you also need to do something physically to tell the body to calm down.
So, how would you physically tell the body to calm down? Because I'm like, if you do some physical action, will the body be calm?
So it's twofold. So one of the most important things that we can do for our bodies is learn how to breathe properly. Now, Rihanna, you mentioned to me earlier that you tend to be a sort of upper chest breather, which is very much high energy, busy. And so for you, it's even more important to really ground the body and learn how to breathe into the belly. Now, I know when we did the exercise earlier, you found it really hard to get the sense of breathing here. So, okay, let me just get a chair for you. So I'd just like you to sit down on the chair a second. And I just want you to bend over and put your hands on your belly.
And then bend.
And bend over, And then just breathe. And can you feel how the belly is expanding and retracting as you breathe?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you can feel that feeling. Yeah?
Yes.
Brilliant. Now I'm going to take the chair away. So I just want you to keep that feeling in mind. And as we take a deep breath into the stomach, just think about how that felt and focus on that. Just really make sure that you're keeping all of this sort of area soft, so that we don't have this going on. It's all going on here. Everything's expanding that way and expanding that way. And I also want you to think about how the Maori, when they're doing their haka, when they poke their tongues out. Think about that when we're breathing out. So I'm going to show you first what we're going to do. So we're just going to start off by taking some deep breaths, really deep into the belly. And you can put your hands here if it helps. So and then we're going to carry on with deep breathing, and we're just going to think about a smile developing across the lower belly. So we're just going to think of that smile and just carry on breathing for another 5 breaths. And if you're wondering where this technique was developed from, it comes from the Hayu method. So we're going to go different techniques today from different disciplines that you might find useful. So, if we do this together,
Yes.
if you want to face the camera.
Do that.
Okay,
And
so we're
push
going
you
to
at
do
the
the
same
3
time.
deep breaths into
Yes.
the belly. So, and then carry on with the breathing and that lovely smile. And I'm delighted to see that towards the end you're keeping your shoulders nice
I'm
and soft,
so conscious
your head's
of that.
nice and relaxed.
Yes.
So how does that feel?
It feels quite good. I've got to say though, I do feel a difference, and the fact that I am taking the breath all the way down and releasing it makes me feel lightheaded.
Okay.
And I think it's because my body probably needs to get used to that, because I'm so used to just breathing up here.
Yeah.
That the body's going through this change now of let it go all the way down and come all the way up. So I
Yeah.
think the brain is getting too much oxygen.
Your body's getting flooded
Yes,
with oxygen, and it will get used to
I was
the
going to
deeper
say,
breathing.
I think if I
Absolutely
do
it will.
it regularly,
Yeah, it's a
it
really
will get used
important
to that.
point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe for you when you're practicing this later, make sure that you've got that chair just by you in case you
Yeah.
feel a little
Yeah.
bit
lightheaded.
lightheaded, and
Yeah.
then you can just take a
Yeah.
seat. But practice makes perfect.
Yeah, and it's interesting that I picked up that
Yeah.
sign. Yeah.
And this in itself actually sends the right signals to the brain that everything's okay. Because what you were saying about breathing from here, when we breathe from here, this is a very tense, very tight, stressy sort of breathing. And so by pulling the breath down in the body, grounding the body, you're actually telling the body everything's
Yeah.
okay. So you're getting that really calm feeling. Does that
So
make sense?
Takes away that flight, the
Yeah.
freeze.
Yeah. And you're telling the body that it doesn't need to do that
It's
reaction.
okay.
It's
It's
okay.
fine.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can use that technique anytime. I prefer to do it first thing in the morning when I have a shower.
Okay.
So it is an exercise
Yeah.
that's a really good idea to incorporate it into your day. First thing in the morning, throughout the day. It also helps calm the body just before you go to bed as well. So all of these are techniques that you can use throughout your day. Or maybe you're sitting in the office, you've had a particularly difficult phone call. Just take yourself away from the situation when you put the phone down. Just find a quiet space and just breathe. And you'll find that it really is good at calming you down. Or perhaps you've had an argument with somebody. Before you retaliate, within reason, go away, breathe, come back. Sometimes things don't seem as difficult or as complicated when you just take yourself away from the situation as when you're right in the middle of
Yeah,
it.
I was thinking exactly the same thing now, because I'm thinking, what are the triggers? Because I have triggers,
Yeah,
and and like you say, you just tend to react, and that
absolutely.
sometimes gets you into trouble, big trouble. So this is a good technique.
Yeah.
I just need to remember to do it.
A way that I remembered all the techniques that I learned
Mm.
and how to incorporate them, I actually got a stencil and
Yeah.
I used a wipeable marker and
Yeah.
I put I did the deep breathing one on the tiles in the shower
Okay.
until I got used to it, and then I wiped it off. And the other techniques that we're going to talk about, I actually wrote them on my mirror so that I
Good
saw them as
idea.
I was drying
Yeah,
my hair and
yeah.
getting ready in the morning. And slowly but surely over a period of weeks it just became habit to do them, and then I didn't need the hints anymore.
Okay.
I was able to wipe
Yeah.
them off.
Yeah.
So that's one way to actually, you can stick stuff on the fridge, you can stick stuff on the mirror in the bathroom,
Yeah.
anywhere that just reminds you to do it. Have a reminder on your phone,
And I
all
think
sorts of ways.
thinking about it now as well, I'm probably not doing it as effectively because I'm conscious I'm on the camera and making a fool out of myself. But being in your bathroom, being in your own house when nobody's going to see you, I think you let go
Absolutely.
and you'll just do it.
Absolutely. So that's the first technique. The second technique is much more about bringing the body back into the center and resetting it for good. And you know, I talked about earlier about the blood, you know, forced into the muscles. We want to get that blood back out of the muscles and circulating around the whole body again, sending the right signals.
Okay.
So we're going to do the reset ritual. Again, this comes from the Hey You method. And it's a shake, a drum, and a twist.
Okay.
So we're going to start with the shake, and we're just shaking the body.
Okay. So
Just shaking the body, shaking the body. Just get that blood moving.
feel my belly shaking as well.
And then next, just going to make a light fist.
Yeah.
And we're just going to drum. So we're going to start a light drum on the chest. And on the Hey You Method website, you can dig much deeper into the theory behind these. But this is really, really good at clearing congestion
I was
out
going
of the
to
chest.
ask you.
It's very much based on Chinese medicine, so it's looking at a lot of the trigger points and energy meridians that the Chinese talk about that flow through the body. And I personally have found it to be a really fantastic technique.
Thinking about it though, and I think what my mom had told me when she had phlegm on the chest and she went to a physio.
This is what they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense.
And now we're going to go down the outside of the arm
Okay.
and up the inside,
Oh, okay. So down the outside,
up the inside,
up the inside.
across the chest,
Yeah.
and then change arms, down the outside, up the inside, across the chest. And then next we're going to do the diaphragm and the belly, round and round. And this is a really good one for the internal organs and the belly fat as well.
And I'm uncoordinated in terms of going around, so I'll just do that.
That's absolutely fine.
I guess it's just the aim of being able to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go down the outside of the leg and
Yeah.
up the inside of the leg. So starting on the hips, then up the inside, up the belly and the diaphragm. And then you're just going to do over the adrenals.
And so what does this do, Alison?
So this is just resetting the adrenals, which is where a lot of that fight or flight process starts from. Just telling the adrenals to calm down. And also, as an extra bonus, if you get really stiff around the hips or around the lower back,
Yeah.
you can just turn the fist slightly, and you can just tap around here as well to release tension.
Okay. So just show me how you were tapping on the adrenals again.
So the adrenals
Okay.
is the light fist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the tension is the sort of
The
top
side.
of the
Okay.
top of the fist
Okay.
to reduce
Okay.
the tension. And then the last thing we're going to do is the twist. So just lightly twisting and just let the arms connect with the body front and back. And just taking the head round with the torso. And there we have the reset ritual. How do you feel?
I must say, I've been tired lately. I think I told you earlier on, I've had back-to-back meetings this whole week, very early. And it's not even your normal times in terms of getting up and going to work. It's been much more earlier than that. And I've been flagging lately after midday. But now I feel like I'm re-energized. I can actually go sit at my desk and do another couple of hours of work, which I won't, but that's the way I feel.
I'm really glad to hear that. So that's another great technique. I use it all the time. I find it absolutely amazing, and I'm so grateful to Katie Brindle for teaching it for me. She's taken decades of information from all the Oriental disciplines and put them into some wonderful, really short, accessible routines, and I think that one's great. They're my two go-to ones when I'm feeling stressed or,
Yeah.
or things are difficult. And I just find it has an amazing effect on the body. And I teach it to all my clients. I teach it when I'm working with people one-to-one. And I've yet to come across anybody that has anything but amazing results with it. So
I think what
practice,
I like
practice.
about it, so to speak, over you, it's short and sweet.
Yeah.
And you do it, and I can immediately feel that there is a change.
Yeah.
So when we did the breathing, as I said, I felt lightheaded. For me, that is a change in the body.
Yeah.
And then with this, I do feel calm and
Mhm.
re-energized. So not calm in the sense of tired, but
Yeah.
calm in the sense of, yes, I'm re-energized and I can
Energized
still go
but
and-
relaxed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, it's a technique that you can do first thing in the morning. If you feel a little bit stressed during the day, you can do it. You can do it last thing at night. There's a whole host of other techniques that Katie has as well that we're not
Okay.
going to cover today,
Yeah.
but certainly go and have a look at her website and look up about
Her name
what she
again?
does. Katie Brindle, and her technique is called HAYU method,
Okay.
HAYOU method. So take a look, but you've got those two techniques, practice them, try them, find a quiet corner in the office, or even better still, teach all your colleagues how to do it.
have fun with it.
Have fun with it, absolutely. So the next technique is much more focused on just on the breathing.
Okay.
This is a technique that I learned way back. So my first career was in the Army Intelligence Corps. And so this is a technique called tactical breathing that tends to be taught very much to the military and to the emergency services to really very quickly be able to calm down the stress response.
Okay.
And you can imagine that those guys really need to be able to do that like that. So this is an even shorter technique, but really helpful.
So I'm excited to see what that is.
It's so simple. Again, you're thinking about breathing into
Okay.
the belly.
Yeah.
And you're just doing, so typically 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out, 4 counts hold.
Okay.
If you find that too much, do whatever you can until you can build up to a higher number. So if you can only do 2, 2, 2, 2,
Okay.
do that and then slowly build up to 4, because we don't want you keeling over
Yeah.
when your body's not
Yeah.
used to it. But I'm going to do it with the 4 count.
Okay.
And I'll leave you to do it with your rhythm.
Okay.
And so it looks like this. And I'm just going to use my hands so that you can see where
Yeah.
my breath is
Yeah.
going. And it is that simple.
Yeah, definitely. Funny enough, I don't become lightheaded with this one versus the first one. we did.
Okay, that's interesting. Maybe your body's getting used
I was
to it
actually
already.
thinking exactly the same thing.
So the last technique that we're going to cover today. So a lot of people talk about emotional freedom technique, which
Yeah.
is the tapping technique.
Yeah.
So before emotional freedom technique was thought field therapy, which is the root of emotional freedom
Okay.
technique. So I was taught thought field therapy, and that's my go-to tapping technique that I use, and I find this particular routine really helpful. It can be a little bit complex, so one of the reasons that I wanted to record it for everybody is that they could see it, watch it, and then they can refer back to the video to
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
revise and learn the technique. So this one needs a little bit more practice. So you're going to do the deep breathing, where you're just gentle deep breathing, not really tough
What we
deep
did
breathing,
before.
gentle deep
Yeah.
breathing into
Yeah.
your belly. And as you do so, you're just going to start tapping.
So you're using
So I'm using 2 fingers,
Yeah.
and I'm just
Tapping.
very lightly tapping on the side of the hand.
okay.
And at the same time, I'm going to breathe and really focus on being grounded. and very mindful of my breathing. Anybody that does mindful techniques are about being in the moment. So this is about thinking about being in the moment. And so I'm just going to talk it through first, and then we'll do the technique for real. So first of all, we're going to tap the side of the hand. Then we're going to take the fingers and we're going to tap the forefinger right near the bed of the nail.
Yeah.
And then we're going to tap under the nose.
Do you use the same hand that you're tapping with?
Yeah.
Or could you change hands?
You can change hands. Under the nose, under the lip, under the nose, and then the really important thing, so this is called the psychological reversal triangle, is that as you come down the other side of the triangle. So you started on that hand. Did you start on that hand? Okay, so
I
you're
start tapping
okay.
this.
So you started on that hand, so
Yeah.
you're finishing on that hand.
Okay.
I started here, so I'm finishing here. And you do the reverse. So you tap up near the nail bed, and then you tap the side of the hand.
Okay.
And that's the end. So it's called the PR triangle. So
Okay.
you go up and down. And this is very good at rewiring the body, just to, again, it's another calming technique. But also, if you look at what we're talking about next week, we're talking about, starting changes with physical health. If you find things scary and resisting, try this technique. So this isn't just a stress technique as a stress in the moment to something that's happening that's difficult. This is also, feeling a little bit difficult.
Okay.
Perhaps you've got to give a speech and you've got the butterflies in the stomach, or you're finding you're resistant to change, or something feels a little bit uncomfortable. All of those sorts of things. This one is a little bit of a deeper technique that's really good for that.
Okay. Question.
Yeah.
So how long do you tap?
So ideally it's between 50 and 100
Okay.
on each point.
Yeah.
So should we do it together now?
Yes, and
So let's do 50.
Okay, and I just want to ask the question. So you mentioned, like, say I'm anxious before doing a presentation.
Yep.
Do I have to think about something specifically while I'm tapping?
Nope.
Okay.
No, just really focus on the breathing.
Okay.
Really focus on the breathing.
Okay.
So if you've tried some of the other techniques and you're still feeling the butterflies, this is your go-to technique when nothing else seems to work, and this definitely starts to move things along.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do it together, and we're going to do 50 taps.
Okay.
So should we start now?
Yeah.
Go. And remember that deep breathing as well. it's really interesting, that technique. I often find that I feel quite buzzy, or sometimes I can start to really yawn,
Yeah.
and then the feeling, or the yawning will stop, and I'll find that the feelings really moved out of the
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
So that's a really
I feel the
amazing
buzziness
technique.
up here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. That's what
it's
I
a
feel.
nice feeling,
It's
isn't
the
it?
whole buzzing. Yeah. Legally high. I like that word. Legally high.
So there you have it, 4 techniques that will take you a fraction of time and might make the difference about how you feel throughout your day. So go and practice, use them regularly, stick your reminders on your mirror, on your fridge, in the bedroom, wherever. Teach it to your kids, teach it to your husband, teach it to your work colleagues, and just go and have fun with it, and I hope you find it useful. If you've got any questions, post them in the comments. And if you found it useful and you've tried it, then let us know. Post in the comments and let us know how it's gone for you.
Thank you, Alison. I did
Thank you,
really
Rihanna.
fun. And yeah, I think it's just practice, practice, practice. Thank you.
Thank you.